Melbourne-born Radha Mitchell started out with a winning theatrical combination, inheriting her good looks from her mother, who used to model on the catwalks of Italy, and her acting passion from her filmmaking father. Bitten by the acting bug early, she began performing professionally while still in high school and quickly landed a role on the TV series Sugar and Spice, followed by roles on Neighbours, GP, Blue Heelers and The Flying Doctors. While she received early success on the small screen, it was female legends on the big screen that really inspired her acting work.
Catherine Deneuve, Holly Hunter, I guess. It's a crazy woman with the big teeth, French, gaps in her teeth, Beatrice Dahl. I mean, there's so many amazing women, and what's great about cinema is there's so many different faces and different voices, and it's exciting.
With her large expressive eyes and whimsical blonde hair, it is no wonder Radha found success portraying characters that required a youthful energy and naivety, as well as a more intense emotional connection. In 1996, her big break came in the romantic comedy Love and Other Catastrophes. Her star now on the rise, she moved to LA to pursue bigger and more challenging roles. In 1998, her US debut in High Art received critical acclaim and was followed by Cleopatra's Second Husband. This success opened the door for roles in bigger budget mainstream movies. In 2000, she returned to Australia to star in the sci-fi horror Pitch Black with Vin Diesel. Then, in 2003, she starred alongside another big Hollywood name, Colin Farrell, in the intense and violent thriller Phone Booth. The film caused a stir when its release was delayed after a real-life sniper struck in Washington. Starring in such a controversial film, did Radha feel a sense of social responsibility?
Well, how big of a factor does reality play in causing all these violent movies? I don't know. I think one inspires the other. That's what I think, and I think, it's sort of the duty of filmmakers to represent, the reality that they are part of.
Throughout her career, Radha has starred alongside many of Hollywood's most talented leading men, including Bruce Willis, Johnny Depp, and one of her favourites, Man on Fire co-star Denzel Washington.
I think he's probably one of the most giving actors I've ever worked with. Like, he's very present both on camera and off camera. So when you're reading your lines, he's totally giving you full energy behind the camera.
An Aussie who has lived in LA since 1997, Radha found she had a lot in common with the character she was playing and used her own emotional experiences of living in a foreign country to deliver a memorable performance.
I'm playing Lisa Ramos, who's Peter's mother, and she's a Texan who's living in Mexico City, and she's been there for about, 10 years. So she's kind of a cultural hybrid of a Texan woman and a Mexican Chiquita, I guess.
Possibly her finest role to date was in the Academy Award-winning Finding Neverland, where she played an alienated wife alongside screen legends Kate Winslet and Johnny Depp. This performance earned her and her co-stars a Screen Actors Guild Award nomination for Outstanding Cast in a Motion Picture. Having built her career portraying psychologically troubled characters, she took on her most complex and accomplished role to date in Woody Allen's Melinda and Melinda, telling the story of the romantic troubles of a young woman through two parallel storylines, one tragic and one comedic. Woody Allen had been so set on having her star in his film that he personally called her on her mobile to offer her the role. Radha was sure it was a prank until the script was actually delivered to her. In 2006, she continued to explore her love of troubled and tormented characters, starring in the movie adaptation of the video game Silent Hill, playing Rose, a desperate mother who's trying to find the reason behind her daughter's nightmares. Despite negative reviews, the film raked in over $20 million at the box office, making the exhausting filming schedule worth it.
The experience of working on this film is like just jumping into the deep end of a very cold swimming pool and like swimming as fast as you can to get to the shallow end. I mean, I think everybody felt that it's been full on every day. I mean, every day everybody's been challenged and everybody's been really pushing their limits and doing the best work that they can and taking everything very seriously and really putting their heart into it.
Keen to push herself out of her comfort zone, she starred in the romantic Feast of Love, even appearing in a full frontal nude scene. She simply found the script and the themes it explored too interesting to pass on.
Well, the script itself is just so beautifully written, and the sentiment of the script was, very attractive to me. The fact that it actually had something to say about life, was dealing with the big issues, and focusing on love as the meaning without being shy about saying that. A movie about love, you think it's going to be mushy and sentimental and, have this kind of succinctly happy ending, whereas this one gets into the nitty-gritty of love. It turns it upside down. It explores this idea of this innocent, spontaneous love, and then this mid-30s complexity, what am I doing with my life kind of love, and then this sort of mellow love between two people who've been together for 30 years and trust each other and have this beautiful friendship. So it explores it in many different ways.
In 2008, Radha found herself returning down under to star in the horror film Rogue for Wolf Creek director Greg McLean. He was a huge fan of her work.
Once I had the idea of her, I just couldn't get rid of it, and it was quite frustrating because we're looking at a lot of different people for the part, and no one could ever slot into my psychology about why they could do this part. So it was a bit of a blessing and a curse to be so locked onto someone, but ultimately we were fortunate enough for her to be able to do the film.
It was interesting to come back to Australia and play this part in particular, because I had to relearn my accent in a way. Not that I've lost my Australian accent, but it has a lot of American inflections in it. So it was kind of a strange situation to be sitting with a dialogue coach learning how to be Australian when you're Australian.
She kind of has a very natural kind of beauty and an effortless kind of beauty. And she's a very beautiful woman, and also very Australian in this film. So what we really wanted that character to be was she's kind of like, without sort of being corny, she's kind of like the essential ideal of, she's the female version of the bronzed Aussie, basically. And she does it very well in the film.
Once again, Radha found she could draw parallels between the emotional experiences in her own life and that of her character Kate.
I think we're introduced to Kate as a fairly innocent character who's lived and grown up in the same place and has some sort of yearning to leave. There was a lot about this character that I kind of learnt from going up north. When we went up to the Northern Territory, there's a whole kind of way of being that it's very, very different, in particular to that area. And you won't find people necessarily of the same ilk who live in the cities in Australia. It's almost like a culture unto itself, and just going there was a real eye-opening experience for me, and probably one of the most memorable places in Australia that I've been to, and I would definitely go again.
In spite of the film's gruesome outcome, Radha managed to find a bright side to the story.
It's very violent and kind of horrible, but yeah, there is a sense of adventure to it, I guess, and there's a sense of humour to it as well. As much as you hate looking at what you're looking at and you see these characters that you've hopefully grown to love get destroyed, you kind of enjoy watching them die.
In 2008, Radha moved away from starring in thrillers to co-star with Luke Wilson in the American drama Henry Poole Is Here, which actually proved very challenging.
We had 3 weeks to make the movie, so we weren't sitting around in the trailers. We were basically constantly shooting one scene, the next scene. There wasn't a lot of time on set to sit around and talk about it.
It was a 6-week shoot.
It was like a 2-minute shoot, wasn't it? Was it really?
6-week shoot. Trust me, I was there every day.
Despite her busy schedule, she still finds time to support various charities.
Well, I think it's very important to support the environment on any level, and it's an issue that continues to play. And tonight's, I guess, focused on schools and children are our only resource, really, or our greatest resource. So anything we can do to improve the school system and keep schools non-toxic is good. When I was 10 years old, I was part of a children's campaign for peace, which was like a non-nuclear kind of group. And we used to perform in Australia in peace rallies. So I guess it was sort of in my mind then, and since I've been here, it's been wonderful to sort of be in contact with this group and work in this way.
In 2009, Radha took on the big-budget blockbuster Surrogates alongside Bruce Willis. The role of FBI Agent Peters was complex as she played two versions of her character, the beautiful, perfect surrogate and her more dowdy real self.
I do play Jennifer Peters, who is a woman who probably has some kind of personality disorder and never really wants to leave the sort of enclosed reality that she lives in. So she experiences her whole life through this robot who is an FBI agent.
The futuristic thriller explores a world in which humans live in isolation while only communicating with their fellow man through robots which serve as social surrogates.
Obviously, it's a fairly detached way to experience your life, and I don't think it's very satisfying. But I find the concept fascinating because you could be anything, and what your exterior is not representative of who you are. So you could be a man, you could be a woman, you could be a child, you could be any kind of external aspect of character that you want to explore, and I find that very interesting.
It operates, on so many different levels. So it is so many different genres. I guess it's an action sci-fi thriller that offers a powerful social commentary. And I think that's the success of the film. It is so many different things.
It looks like Radha Mitchell could live up to her full Indian name, Radha Rani. Radha being related to a Hindu god and Rani being the word for queen. After all, she already is a silver screen goddess who may just rise to become a queen of Hollywood. Stay tuned to Star Picks for more of the movies you know and the actors you love, broadcast in glorious high definition with 5.1 surround sound where available. For more of the best in entertainment news, check out your Movie Network channels. It's altogether better, on screen and at mnc.tv.